Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, a consulting hypnotist and a life coach, and welcome to Saturday at 2:30. This is the podcast I do here every Saturday at 2:30 on Central Time on Facebook, and later putting the recording up on my YouTube channel. Every week, I talk about some aspect of life coaching or the hypnotic arts and sciences. Today, I want to talk about the importance of perspective and the importance of managing your perspective. Now, in my pastoral work, or when I work with clients, my professional work, when I find someone who wants to kind of whine or tell me a victim's story, they have the long list of all the wrongs done to them. I always try to help them flip that from a victim's narrative into a victor's narrative, because you can always do that. And I know this firsthand. I come from a family that's very much a train wreck. And if I wanted to tell myself a victim story about the opportunities I was never given, that I had a right to expect, the care that I had a right to receive and didn't, the disadvantages that were handed to me, sometimes gratuitously, if I wanted to tell myself a victim's story and use that to explain lack of achievement or use that to explain unhappiness, I would have the raw material to do that. But instead, I choose to tell myself a victor's story, that all of those people conspired for reasons of their own to hold me back, to try to sabotage me, and they failed completely. I was able to outmaneuver every single one of them. That's a victor's narrative. This isn't to say I didn't make mistakes or suffer defeats. I did. But I was bloody minded and I kept at it, and I succeeded despite them. So a victim script can often be transformed into a victor script by a change of your perspective. See, there's a reality that it's not so much what happens to you as what you choose to make of it. To some degree, your perspective on things is more important than the actual events themselves. Now, there are certainly major calamities. You get cancer or some other life-changing illness, you suffer a death or a loss, and everyone will experience heartbreak in the course of their life. But even in these circumstances, still your perspective on that darkness matters. Whether you see the loss of your soulmate as something you'll never recover from, or an opportunity to form another good relationship with someone else. Whether you experience a reversal in occupation as being a unilateral defeat, or an opportunity to find something else to do that you're going to like even more. Your perspective matters. And if you let yourself get into a negative place, very often that negative mental attitude will, in and of itself, keep you from seeing opportunities that, in fact, you do have. Now, there's a wonderful poem that I've stumbled across called Pretty Ugly, and it's written by Abdullah Shoaib. Now, I've found this poem a number of places on the internet, always unattributed. I hope that's not because the name sounds like an Islamic name and we're seeing some prejudice there. But it's a wonderful poem. Now I'm going to read it start to finish. I'm very ugly, so don't try to convince me that I am a very beautiful person. Because at the end of the day, I hate myself in every single way. And I'm not going to lie to myself by saying there is beauty inside of me that matters. So rest assured, I will remind myself that I am a worthless, terrible person. And nothing you say will make me believe I still deserve love. Because no matter what, I'm not good enough to be loved. And I am in no position to believe that beauty does exist within me. because whenever I look in the mirror, I always think, am I as ugly as people say? Now, that's a heck of a dark poem. But now the author says, read it backwards. Read it bottom to top. Am I as ugly as people say? Because whenever I look in the mirror, I always think, beauty does exist within me. And I am in no position to believe that. I am not good enough to be loved. Because no matter what, I still deserve love. And nothing you say will make me believe that I am a worthless, terrible person. So rest assured, I will remind myself, there is beauty inside of me that matters. And I'm not going to lie to myself by saying, I hate myself in every single way. Because at the end of the day, I am a very beautiful person. So don't try to convince me that I'm very ugly. Totally reverse meaning, whether you read it top to bottom or bottom to top. Perspective matters. It matters completely in how you read that poem. And that's true of many, many things. Now, some of you know I'm a martial artist. I'm multiple black belt in Taekwondo and the traditional weapons instructor for my dojang for more than a decade. In the martial arts, especially Taekwondo, which is a high-kicking style, it can be very helpful if you're flexible, especially in the pelvic region, so you can kick high easily. That's rewarded in Taekwondo. I'm not flexible. I started the martial arts fairly late. When you do that, your ligature is no longer supplied with blood. It'll tear rather than stretch, and that's a real disadvantage. However, as my martial arts instructor said, everything's an advantage, everything's a strength, depending on how you use it. Yeah, you're not very flexible. This means you're not going to be able to kick high easily. However, when you do kick, your entire body is locked behind that kick, and it's going to land with a tremendous amount of force. Whereas if you were more flexible and the leg could easily go up there, when it landed, it would only be the momentum of the leg, not powerful at all. You might score a point, but it's not going to be a meaningful strike. Everything's a strength, everything's a weakness, depending on how you use it. So I wasn't flexible, but my kicks could be powerful. I said at one point, I'm not as strong as some of these young guys from college who've been playing football. And my master said, well, you're not as strong, but what a wonderful opportunity to perfect strategy and timing to overcome that. And that was exactly what I did, and I became pretty good at sparring. And it was precisely that. Everything's a strength. Everything's a weakness, depending on your perspective. Not strong, change my perspective. It's not a weakness, it's an opportunity to become better at timing, better at strategy. Now, in Scripture, specifically in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10, there's a passage where the writer, probably Paul, said, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And that's the takeaway here. When I am weak, then I am strong. Every weakness has a flip side that is a strength, depending on your perspective. And if you approach it with the perspective that you're going to find the strength, you will often be able to find it. Robert Schuller, the late Robert Schuller, a Protestant minister of some fame back when he was at the peak of his career, used to talk about turning your scars into stars. It was the same theme. Bad things that happen to you, your scars, shape you more than the good things. So the fact that I had a rough childhood, that's a scar, but that scar gives me my empathy as an adult, and that allows me to be effective as a helping professional. If I didn't have those scars, I would have had to go do something else because I wouldn't be very good at doing this. The very scars that shape you encourage you to become better because those scars provide you with an opportunity to be able to achieve more. Now, another concept of this, the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a notion he called amor fati, love of fate. It's the same basic idea. If you're living your life effectively, you have to love your fate, which means you have to also love the bad stuff that happened to you earlier, because that's the stuff that shaped you into the effective living person you are right now. So if you love who you are right now, you have to love your scars, amor fati. And if you don't love who you are right now, that's a challenge to change it. And a good way to start doing that is to go back and list those scars. Come up with the things that happened to you that were not good, and look for the hidden advantage they may give you. Yeah, I was a battered kid. Yeah, I was sexually abused. The consequence, though, I became empathetic, and that allowed me to be a helping professional. Turn your scars into stars. Amor fati. It's all a matter of your perspective. So when you have a weakness, it allows you to appreciate other people who don't have that weakness, and that helps. That's an asset, that kind of connection to others, and it allows you to appreciate yourself as well. For every victory has its beginning in a hardship in the past that you overcame, and any hardship, pretty much, can be overcome. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I will be back next week, 2:30 Central, with another talk on a different subject. I hope you'll tune in if you find these talks helpful. I will edit this up and put it on my YouTube channel with the appropriate links and cards. So please check out my website or reach out to me if you think I can be helpful to you. Please like, share, subscribe, and do well. And especially these days, stay safe.